Hey folks, how's it going? It's Friday. We doing a little game dev related stuff today. So I thought I would open Blender because I've got to a point now that I'm gonna have to start modifying some models um, to actually achieve some stuff that I want to do. I can kind of do stuff without doing it, but I'm gonna have to do this anyway. I might as well do this now. I can kind of work with it. So I'm going to switch over to Blender and we can import a model and see if we can what's the word? So I'm going to have to just Google some stuff because it's what I need to do is just get a load of models and do the same thing to all these different models, and I'm going to slowly get used to the methods involved. Need to give it a skeleton. Armature. I need to give some NPC models an armature so they can actually move, because they can be puppeted, they can be animated. Because at the moment I have some pre-made purchased assets of some NPCs, but they haven't got armatures. They're not rigged, that's the term. They need to be rigged with an armature so they can be animated. All those combinations of phrases. But yeah, we'll go do that today. But I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're enjoying your Friday so far. I would have liked to have streamed earlier, playing some more Tempest Rising. Absolutely love that game. But I wanted to have a mental break, not a mental breakdown, but a mental break before looking into Blender. Now I'm just gonna have a look for these models, see where I put them. They could be in game dev. Nice. Hey Jeffrey, how's it going? What are you gonna make? So I want to animate some NPCs, some characters, some people. Because they are just stuck in like a T-pose at the moment. So I want to actually make them movable. Where are they? Castle Mega Pack, that's where they're going to be. If we don't like them, we can sort of find some more. But as far as Revolt Overthrow goes, I don't want to put too much effort into the visuals. It's not really about the visuals for me on Revolt Overthrow, because it's more the technicality of how the game is made, what technologies I need to use, what methods to how to get there and stuff. But certainly animating an NPC, no matter what they look like, is going to be a good skill to learn. See if I can find these. Rocks, stalls. So I could go in. I could make a custom set of assets completely for Revolt Overthrow, but I don't mind it being kind of a so-called asset flip game. Because I'm not trying to just chuck out nonsense. I'm trying to make a game and have it a fun game, and just use found assets, not having to worry about making something for a simple game. They're not there. So Castle Mega Pack, they should be part of the Castle Mega Pack. Let's do a search. Okay. They're not in there then. We do have a lot of items in here. I got wooden benches and stuff like that. Wooden chairs. Is this for the new game already? Not quite yet. So I'm still going to be practicing. This is going to be the more complicated things for the current game. But once I've learned these, I can then start doing it properly with the characters for the new game. So what I will do, as you're quite rightly thinking, is for the new game I will be starting with the characters and making assets, and then I'll start going back into Unity and start creating basic mechanic tests. So I'll be making characters, assets, and doing mechanics tests to make sure the mechanics work fine, and then bring the two together. So like the character control mechanic, does the character move around? Like, does a cube move around the screen comfortably? Like the combat mechanic, does it feel more a good flow between two cubes fighting each other, for instance? It doesn't have to be people. I just want to see the numbers working. And of course, yeah, then you want to see how it looks when you have two characters fighting. Characters, is that it? Evening, Hope Junkie Chat. Evening, Max. How's it going, dude? Did see a missed call from you just as I was setting up. And damn it, I missed you again. How's it going? Hope you're well. To remember how we do this. So these are all the characters, apparently. Are they actually rigged? No, they're not rigged. So it's worth checking anyway. So this is all the characters that came with the pack. It's almost like a little... You could print these all out and sort of put on their weapons and stuff. Good, thanks, buddy. Glad to hear that, dude. I have to remember how you maneuver in a Blender. So if Unity and Blender having very similar but not quite the same controls. So I can rotate. Is it zoom? That's kind of what I want to do. When did we unzip the characters? We can open the characters separately. Maybe that'll be better. We got villager. Open with Blender. Let's do this. I realise the stream's not showing the right Blender window. Let's kill that one. There you go. You can actually see the Blender window now. So you're just looking at a cube. But yeah, this is what I was looking at. You got all the characters in one file. Now I'd rather them be in separate files. You know, I was having problems with my internet. Well, sorry now. Just changed the router. Ah, awesome. Glad to hear that, dude. Yeah, internet problems are the worst because it's frustrating because you can't use the internet to fix the internet because the internet's broken. Now, let's let me actually open it with Blender. No. Maybe I need to import it. Let's go File, New. Now, can I... Do I have to do it this way? Do I have to import... FBX, import an FBX, there we go. And let's pick out the villager. Ah, there we go, we've got a single villager, we don't need a cube, let's delete the cube. So no more £111 phone bills that I've been using on my mobile data, having to pay the extra. Oh, ouch! That's yeah, that's not good. I'm glad it's sorted now. So I could improve this villager model if I really wanted to, but we shall not. Ah, that's out. We hold down the shift key, that's what we were trying to do. See, looks a reasonable looking model, but it's static. The whole thing is static. Okay, yeah, he's got his colour palette. It's semi-transparent as well. It's interesting. Go back to a regular grey model. So we could try and add an armature. Armature, human. Oh, some weird stuff going on there. As I was only on 4G, right, I've got a quick question on the internet logo. My taskbar on my phone, it has 6E in it. What is 6E? 6E? Ooh, that's a very good question. 6E, unless it's so at the top of the phone it says 6E. So I know, like, typically you get 5. But so not a 6. Unless it's Wi-Fi 6 maybe. If you want to be right back, dog, walk, okie dokie. And then if there's Wi-Fi 6, like the mobile network is on 5G, but 6 and 6E is a Wi-Fi protocol. So if you're connected to your Wi-Fi at home, is that the latest protocol? Is 6E the latest Wi-Fi protocol? So if you just replace your router, it's probably got the latest. Well, your phone's up to date anyway, isn't it? It's a pretty new phone. Yeah, I can see you get routers with 6E Wi-Fi. So that's probably it. You probably got the latest high-speed Wi-Fi connection. If you leave the house, it'll probably just change to 5G or 4G. Apparently 6E's been out for the last 3 years. No, that's last 2 years. Last couple of years, Wi-Fi 6E has been the standard. Nice. I'm not even sure. I don't think our router does 6E. We've had it for a couple of years at least now. Yeah, most routers with 6E are proper kind of high-powered routers. That's cool to know. Got an armature here, but it's gonna have to. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, it's his face. Okay. So the skeleton is actually taller than he is. So let's have a look. For the armature, we want. Let's see the bones on top. Generates a rig from active meta rig armature. Upgrade face rig. Upgrades the legacy super face rig type to the new modular face. This prefers compatibility with existing weight painting. Oh. So there's so much to learn with this. Now, I'd love to be able to do full Blender animations and learn all this stuff as well. Bone groups, there's no bone groups. I just want for the bones to be visible. Sure, it's swinging along these lines here. Show us viewport display. Oh, what about here? In front, there it is. I'm digging around for a single text box. or not text box, a tick box, single tick box. Then we're going to edit mode. Let's go back on all those. Let's highlight everything there. Move it as a whole. That makes sense to me. It's not far off. We'll line it up this way. I know the knees are too high, but it kind of makes sense to do this first. Let's grab all of that. Let's line the shoulders up at least. These nipples. I'll come back to the face. That face is a little bit too big for him. Probably should have scaled the entire armature down. Probably been the easiest thing to do. more towards right area there. This is what 6E means. 6E on Wi-Fi stands for Wi-Fi 6 extended. Signifies that the Wi-Fi device or network supports the new 6 gigahertz frequency band, extending the capabilities of the Wi-Fi 6 standard. This means faster speeds, lower latency, and less interference, especially in crowded areas. Ah, nice. So your new router is top of the range. I suppose his knee's not too far off there, really. His nipples in the right place. You got all this kind of detail to the bones. It reminds me of a Terminator. Sort of moving an exoskeleton inside him. Oh, exoskeleton is an external skeleton anyway. Cybernetic skeleton, shall we say. Moving a cybernetic skeleton inside a flesh. This one's going to be quite hard to do in 3 dimensions. Ooh, excuse me. Because his hand is sticking out of his hand. It's like a reverse Wolverine kind of thing. Right, try and do it finger at a time. So technically I'm on 6G then. Yeah, as long as you're in your home you're in 6G. Because 6G doesn't exist publicly. But privately on the router it does. Which is pretty cool. How come his finger's not attached? That's hand L, palm 4L. Oh yeah, that's okay. So let's parent to that. Let's parent to that. Connected. That's what I wanted. Inherit rotation. Odd, but that's the way we're going to have to do it, then that's the way we're going to have to do it. It feels so much faster and smoother. My download speed is 508.78 megabits per second. Upload speed is 6.4 megabits. Nice. That's a decent speed, that is. See, the bones in his hands are roughly the right size, but the face, maybe it's designed for more of a cartoony character with a bigger head. Now, there's two ways you can kind of go about this kind of thing. Is that you either use this auto thing, which I have, and then reposition everything, or you manually add all these bones yourself, and then you're not having to readjust too much because you place them exactly where they need to be. It's kind of a for and against, really. Welcome back, Jeffrey. Let's move that knuckle. Now I have to do this for every single character. You can see it's been very tedious. So hopefully I can just copy this armature between characters. Hi Salamotes. Hey Lisa, how's it going? Good to see you. All those awesome emotes. Doing alright. How are you? Glad to hear. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good indeed. It's been a good week overall. Nice. Let's try and stick these finger bones back into his hand. Angle the fingers properly and move them. Let's move the index finger over. I go head off now. I want to play another couple of hours of Once Human Mobile before bed. Nice. I enjoy that, dude. Good to chat to you as always. Hope you have a good weekend. And we shall speak soon. Looks about right. Just lining up the lines on the it's obviously way more detail than is actually needed, because I can kind of make down to the individual fingertips. But this is good practice. That should really be that way a bit more. Ooh, that's so anything when you're working through 3D space. So it kind of looks fine that way, but that is certainly not how a bone works. And that probably needs to go back that way a bit more. That definitely needs to come down a bit. Well, hard to tell, but I think most of those bones are still underneath the hand. Not really matters, 'cause you're not going to see the bones. It's just how they all take off in front. Yeah, so that index finger is bone sticking out slightly. So ultimately, it's still got to bend the armature, or bend the model to the armature. Right, that's one hand anyway. The amount of extra features you can, the amount of armature that is placed on the face means you should be able to fully animate his mouth moving, among other things, like his eyes, twitching of the nose, wrinkles of the eye, the brow and stuff, the ears. Now the ideal thing, if I made this from scratch, is you make half the skeleton and then you just tell it to mirror it. Just copy one side to the other. But I've got the entire skeleton and I have to arrange the whole thing. So I say it depends what you want your starting point to be. You want the entire skeleton made for you and you just position it, or do you want to make the entire skeleton yourself? So it's you pick your battle. Right. Definitely happy with where the wrist is. You pulling out the bones from his hand looks painful. Yeah. Doesn't look a very very friendly procedure. Now I rotate the whole hand. I'm trying to rotate it all individually. So these halfway there. That's what I want to do. By the way, I ordered the Sims unofficial cookbook. It arrived today. Nice. I've heard that. I love that. So there's unofficial or official cookbooks for games. So yeah, cool. Some of the things that you can make in games are quite delicious, or just funny or crazy. If you make anything from the book, you have to post your results. Also ordered Stardew cookbook. That one will arrive next week. Awesome. Yeah, I've been looking at the Stardew cookbook for a little while. Well, that's pretty cool. I will. Nice. Got it for €17. Amazon had a big sale. That's pretty decent. Like, books aren't cheap these days. Usually around 30, yeah. You found a good deal. Definitely found a good deal. Let's do it like this. Oh yeah, I forgot these aren't connected, are they? Might make sense to unconnect them once I'm happy. There's obviously a reason why they're not connected. But it just means when I move this joint, they both move at the same time. Sims was also on sale. Got Sims for €12. Usually it's 25. Nice. Less than half price. It's pretty good going, that is. Yeah, it's always worth kind of checking for deals. I occasionally will check Amazon and say, okay, what's on offer at the moment? What's the deals? But then I've also got a browser plugin that will tell me what the price has been for a while. So I go, okay, this is what the price was like yesterday and the price the week before. You go, oh, actually, it says it's on a deal, but it's been that price for a while, or it's actually gone up in price and it's not actually on a deal. It's just cheaper than recommended retail price. So I found Amazon doing that a lot. I go, oh, it's 10% off right now. You go, yeah, but it was 20% off last week. Or it's been 10% off for the entire time. You're just shouting about it now. But they're crafty like that. I think it was, I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, it just gives me like a little graph. So you have like this little graph goes up in price, down in price, up in price, down in price, plateaued. And you go, actually, it's the cheapest it's been for months. This is time to buy it. I think it's called like Keeper Plus or something. Look at them. Yeah, Keepa. Keepa. And yeah, so we can get as a browser plugin. You can go to their website anyway and have a look at prices, but they do a browser plugin as well. And it just adds a graph underneath the item, so you have that picture, price, description, graph, and then everything else that's normally on the page. It takes about 2 seconds to load it, so every time you open up a new item on Amazon you have to wait for 2 seconds, but it's worth it. It's going to save you money, stop you from buying stuff that's not actually on sale. Yeah, I think that's about there. All the bones look to be in the right sort of place. Alright, what about the rest of the body? That foot seems to be fine. This one, the other hand. Do his knees need to come down a little bit? I think they do. Just a little bit. And his hips. Bring the hips down slightly. Everything else, I think, looks to be lined up. Not sure about his face though. Look at all this extra detail in the face. It's mostly there though. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's not fully inside of his face. It's only really there to pull on the facial features. But as long as it's over the right areas, like I suppose I could technically bring this down. There's that many points just there on the nose. His lips. It's very hard to see the lips on such a low poly model. There we go. So the lips need to come down a bit. That's his jaw. It's even got like a thing for his tongue, and this doesn't. He doesn't even have a tongue. He doesn't even have an open mouth. So if I try to animate his mouth, it would just be his lips stretching. So ideally, you'd have like a gap there, like an internal part of the mouth, and like a flappy bit for the tongue, and then the tongue would be moved by this one, and that'd be the lips there. Right, does the eyes match up? Yeah, the eyes pretty much match up. So he can blink, make him kind of, well, at least squint. Not sure about blinking, but I can make him squint at least. Be honest, I'm not going to try and make him waggle his ears. I'm pretty happy with how that is. Now the next thing might be harder, is to actually make it influence it. So we're going to go save as before we get any further. So this was a villager, wasn't it? Save him with the same name as the original model that I'm borrowing. Let's do underscore rigged save as. So it generates a rig from the active meta rig armature. What happens if we click that? don't know what I've done here, but it looks interesting. Don't think it's actually connected to the... So let's go back. There we go. Parents with automatic weights. No, not quite. Lots of facial stuff we can move around with that. Teeth, blimey. Palm. Okay. In the meantime, we're watching a cheerleader show, but it has a ad break now. Ah, nice. We watch on Real TV, not Netflix. Sorry. Yeah, it's been so long since. Hey, it works now. For that. Still have those ads. Yeah, still have ads on those. Aren't allowed to skip forward on MTV. No. Now I watch a streaming service with Nick's called Now TV, and it's basically all the shows that used to be on like cable TV that's been put onto streaming, kind of like Netflix, but it's like shows that originally started on TV. And yeah, if you pay the basic package, you still get adverts where the adverts would be, but it's like their adverts. You pay the premium package, you get no adverts. So it's like watching TV. Just you choose what you watch. I think it's ridiculous when you watch something that was aired on Wednesday and you're not allowed to skip forward. Yeah. The thing is, they use the adverts to pay for it, though, don't they? Like, the whole service is to watch something is it's paid with adverts. So it's like, yeah, it's not free TV. It's paid for. It's annoying though, because like even with watching programs on Now TV, we just mute it, like mute the adverts, wait until they finish, and then unmute the TV again. So, but they're being paid to show the advert, so I do that with Facebook. I'm watching videos on Facebook. I mute Facebook during adverts, and then unmute it to carry on watching videos. Because you can't change the volume on an advert on Facebook. It's the loudest volume available, and then you go back to the video, which has an actual volume slider, or at least the ability to mute it. So I think the wrist is supposed to move that way. Yeah, agree. It's a weird way for a wrist to move. Maybe not. Still a little bit weird, but I think I might have to try and fix the axes at which these actually move. And just feel the nipples. Ooh. So this is when you you know when you got character creators and you can actually adjust like your height and sort of things. You go ones that can adjust chests. It's basically this. So you just have a something in the game that allows you to adjust these 2 points here and go. But obviously without ripping your torso out your spine. So what's happening there then? I guess on the weight paint it's got the back. So they have to take the weight painting off, so the back has no weight, but the front of the chest does, and then you can actually adjust their chest size. Side step. So I'm thinking there's something missing there because it's not ideally needs to be connected to the rest of the bones. So I don't understand why the top of these bones are attached to the spine but not the hips. Doesn't make sense to me. It would make more sense to attach parents of those to there. 'Cause what? Go back to object mode. So. Go edit. So that is thigh left. That is pelvis left. And that is spine. So thigh left should be attached to pelvis left, really. These cheerleaders, real athletes, by the way. Yeah, it's amazing like the amount of training a cheerleader has to go to, because you think, oh yeah, they just wave around and dance and stuff, but no, they're full kind of athletes, acrobatics and all this. Let's attach the legs to the pelvis. It makes more sense to do this. I'm not sure if there's a industry standard reason why the legs aren't attached to the pelvis, but I'm attaching them. There we go. Now he's actually got a leg attached to the pelvis. He can kick, do the can-can. Whack. Not entirely sure why that's in there, but that's there. So you can bend. nods and goes, yes, 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 yes. What the shoulders, are they? No. Stretch Armstrong. So we need to attach his shoulders. Not very good having your arms floating around, really. Go back to object mode. Then go to edit. Is there a cheerleader scene in the UK? You don't have them here, but I know the US have them at every event. If there is, it's not really a big thing. Like, typically sports over here don't have cheerleaders. Whether you can have cheerleaders, or there are sports that have cheerleaders. Like, certainly not football, not rugby, hockey, tennis. Now, I can't think of anything that have a cheer, not in the American sense. Like, the closest thing in some ways is at the ice hockey, they always have the same two girls every ice hockey game. They'll come on with like holding big flags above their heads, massive flags of the home team, and they'll skate around doing like figure skating, kind of doing spins and jumps while waving these flags, and they like fully mirror each other. So if one goes one way, the other goes the other way, and sort of they kind of spin together and all this. It's a great show, and they always do it for like, I want to say a minute. It's probably only like 60 seconds just before the game starts. So they do this, there's music playing, they're dancing, and then they stop, wave the flags, and then they're waving the flags as the main music starts for the home team. And so the announcer sort of says, "Well, welcome your home team," and sort of they skate off, and then like they started doing like this little sparkler effects and all these disco lights, and the home team skate on. But it's the same thing every time, but it's still really cool to see. I did film some the one time. If I find the clip, I'll stick it on Discord. But yeah, it's the same show each time, but it just gets you kind of warmed up. So the girls are dancing, doing their ice skating, and then then the hockey team comes on. Very cool stuff. Connect his shoulders. Stick them back in the sockets. There's collarbone there as well. Let's go back to object mode. Go back to pose. Now in theory I should be able to now rotate nicely. Bring the arms in. And do some swimming. And then flap his arms. Can I do both at the same time? All the fun you can have just armatures together. That. I think it's only the wrist. Ooh, broken his elbow there. Only really the wrist. Because that seems to work. Yeah, elbows only go one way. Yeah. It's that crack. Actually, my elbows kind of can go that much extra. It's very weird. I can kind of. Can't quite see it. Not showing up on stream, but yeah, they go backwards slightly more than they should do. But so do my knees. And it can be quite painful if I put pressure on it, doing it that way. Right, so I think all the joints are fine apart from the wrist. Because that seems to be fine there. I think. It's only the rotation that... Though to be fair, I think the rotation's even fine. It's just that because I can rotate it further than it should do, it looks weird. But no, I'm pretty happy that that guy is rigged now. So go back into object mode, and we can hide the armature. Can we not... How do we hide that now? Love this show? Nice. Thinking he's gonna, if he's moving around, because these parts aren't actually part of the rig, he's gonna leave them behind. Only one thing that irritates me is that you see a girl that is definitely just thin, even see ribs, and then the judges are like, she's too fat. Yeah, that's just wrong. Because it's those kind of things that make women kind of have eating disorders and sort of have mental health issues over their self-image and have body dysphoria, dysmorphia. Like they could be like about to die of starvation, and they will see a fat person in the mirror. Yeah, it's not good. That's the silly thing. Women are supposed to have a sort of a pouch of belly fat, sort of to be healthy. But society is kind of, especially like American beauty society, they said that sort of absolute flat, flat abdomen. I think, well, no, that is actually unhealthy. Women are supposed to have belly fat. It's part of the genetic makeup and functionality. But yeah, unfortunately, societal standards have pushed that unhealthy is what is beautiful. I suppose these two things need to be part of this rig, doesn't they? So control to link. It's insane how fast people are considered too fat in fashion or sports, or something that you judge for looks. Yeah. Right. I like I just ribs and people call it, yeah, call her too fat, and it's just ribs. Like, you're not supposed to see ribs on a person. At most, very slight kind of shadow of a rib. That's all absolute kind of healthiest. And most of those people judging are fatter than the girl they judge, yeah. I've mentioned this a few times, like people who, especially men, who will judge a woman and go, well, you're fat, you're not skinny enough for me. And then you look at them and go, well, you're not exactly a bodybuilder, sort of super model yourself. 90% of judges here are female though, yeah, ex-cheerleaders. So I think they're repeating kind of the ideal that they'll put into their heads. That it's either that sort of they kind of have this conditioning that they feel you have to be a certain look to be a cheerleader because that's what they were taught, or they're jealous that they were made to be that thin when they were a cheerleader, and so everyone else has to be. So they either conditioned to truly believe it, or they're doing it out of spite. But that's what they refer to as generational trauma. That because an older generation had to suffer and have certain pressures applied to them, that they want younger people to have the same pressures and stresses because they had to. You go, no, actually you have got an opportunity to make the world better by saying, I didn't like the pressures I were in, so I'm going to make sure that people younger than me don't. I see a lot of reels where a man talk about famous women where they comment like, she got fat or something, and that, and then they're fatter or ugly or both. Yeah, I've seen it a lot more on social media that if a guy makes a comment about a woman, people will take his profile picture and display it bigger in a picture comment. Don't even have to say any words. Just kind of reply to him with his own picture. Kind of almost like holding a mirror and go, just stop for a moment and look at this. It's just because someone is a professional, a celebrity, a sports personality, does not mean they have to live up to your standard. And even if they aren't, nobody has to live up to your standard. As long as they're happy and they're able to achieve what they are setting out to do, what they look like is immaterial. Because they're not looking like they are for you. If their entire career is based on how they look like, and that they won't have money if they don't look a certain way, completely different in some ways. Still not great. Like being a fashion model, you have to have a certain look because you're being paid to wear clothing and look a certain way. But even fashion models are sort of treated badly, which is good that they're bringing in like more diverse fashion models, because it means so people know what clothing looks like on real people. And yet you still have the same men in comments going, well, why is it they put a fat, ugly model in his clothing? I don't want to look at that. And you go, well, you're not supposed to look at fashion models. You're supposed to look at the clothing. They're literally there as living mannequins to show the clothing. And to be honest, real people will look like that when they're wearing it. But yeah, they just don't understand it. You're not really getting what you're missing here. I mean, diversity is great, of course, but it did irritate me. They used wheelchair-bound person at this one site. I get clothes. And it was for pants. Original picture was diagonal. Couldn't see the pants. No, diversity is good, but I still keep your site functional. Yeah, like that. The point is to still show off the pants. Yeah. I know that there's going to be people in wheelchairs that want to know what the pants look like on them. But maybe you have a couple of different models. You need to be able to, maybe if the model sat down, you have the same model, one stood up in a pose, different sides, sat down on the chair. You go, oh, that's what they look like when you sat down. That's what you look like when you're standing up. And you can see how they don't look like they're too tight, or they have a weird shape when you're sat down. And then that can apply to people in wheelchairs because they're going to be sat down. But yeah, if you can't achieve the goal of showing off the product, it's kind of, yeah, it loses its point a bit. But if it's just a person's size and their skin, like I've seen like fashion models with is it vitiligo, where your dark skinned people have like patches of light skin, and the people will criticize, go, why you're just putting them in because of that. You go, well, yeah, kind of, but Also, if they were a model and they got the right shape, why wouldn't you pick somebody just because they have a skin condition that means it has light patches? But yeah, because they're not looking like majority of the population, people have a problem with it. That's the whole point, really. It's marginalised. Smaller groups need to know that they exist, and people that aren't part of those groups need to know that these groups exist. So when you see someone walking down the street with vitiligo, it's not like, oh my god, what is that weird person with different patchy skin? You go, oh, it's just one of those guys. Cool. Now, I want to try and get this pouch and this, I think that's a dagger or something. But yeah, anyone who's against kind of diversity in things really just doesn't like seeing that other people exist. So we click link inside collection. So I want that mesh to be a child of this mesh. Is that not achievable? At least part of the meta rig. This is not link, new collection. Actually, this mesh is pretty decent for rigging. So when they made this mesh, they must have made it to be rigged. It's got enough vertices to do whatever I want with it without stretching too much. What are you doing exactly and why? That is a great question. That is a great question. So this model of a villager came part of that castle pack that I have. So all the castle bits and the trebuchet, they had villagers and whatnot, but you couldn't move the villager. It was just like a statue. Like all the characters, they're just statues, can't move. So I wanted to be able to move it, so I put a skeleton inside and I can't move him. But this particular villager comes with two separate items. It has like a purse, like a coin bag, and what I'm guessing is like maybe a knife, and they are separate things. They're not part of the villager. Like I could remove that and just put it somewhere else. So it's just kind of floating alongside them. Can you give him a penis? I could do. At the moment he's fully clothed, so you can pretend there's one there. But if I go down the route of Baldur's Gate, I'm not sure if you've seen the character creator on Baldur's Gate, or Baldur's Gate 3 specifically. But you can just remove all the clothing in Baldur's Gate 3, and if you just put the slider up to maximum, it could be down by the knees. And the development team decided that that should be an option. And there's jiggle physics as well, for both the men and the women. I can see through the clothes and no, I have never played Baldur's Gate. Game has sex, yes. It does. You can basically make every single character do whatever you want. Yeah. If you don't buy it, I suggest finding a good source for it. Weird. But yeah, you can decide the size of your body parts on Baldur's Gate 3. And I say it's got jiggle physics, so if you have a male character and you completely strip them naked and then you wobble them around, their body wobbles. Same with the women. I have one game where you can have a penis bigger than the buildings. Wow. But normal sized human. Basically be a penis with a man attached as opposed to the other way around. Called Honey Select. That sounds like a game that I can imagine it would be. Can almost make them 100 in length but wide 0. They're basically like a long stick. You can do that every body part. Some body parts only 2D. Wow. Men are actually angry that the women can get bigger dicks in Baldur's Gate than men. Men claim that women have bigger dicks as well. Yeah. Because I think, yeah, you just basically choose your genitals. Like, you can choose, like, I want a male body, a female body, but then you can just choose what genitals you have. So you can have a female character, and then your genitals are a choice. But it's a fantasy game with dwarfs and elves and demons spawn. Why can't, in this fantasy world, can you just change out your genitals? It's not the fact women have dicks as work, but just because it's bigger. It's jealousy, isn't it? So a woman can strut up to a man and go, I've got a bigger one than you have. Sit down. But no, they put a lot of work into it. It really must be jealousy. Yeah, exactly. Might look into the game at some point. Yeah, definitely. Let's say there are copies of it out there. And play with it, see what you think. And it really has... Do you need to play 1 and 2 now? No, you can go straight into it. It's like it's basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's got its own storyline. And all the different conversation options. And like they've done so well with the game that you can murder everybody that you meet. And the game will still continue. Like you murder a quest giver, that quest doesn't exist anymore. And if it was a story quest, that part of the story doesn't happen anymore. They've really made it to the point where you make up the game as you go, and the game just goes with it. So I can't imagine the amount of work they've had to have done to go, well, what happens if this person gets killed? What happens if that person gets killed? And it's got a brilliant narrator. Like the woman who narrates the story, as you're walking along, you hear this narration and she kind of explains the story and go, and this happened and this, but then you're feeling this and then you come across this small traveller and you decide to say hello, and then it kind of like gives you options to talk to them and stuff. And it's a very clever game. I've only played it for a couple of hours because I don't actually have a copy on my computer. It's on a friend's computer. But very cool. Yeah, check it out. The basic premise of the story is that you have a parasite in your implanted in your head, and the whole point of the game is to try and get to a point where you can have the parasite removed before it matures, and then you die. That's the whole plot. How you get to that point is entirely up to you. There's tons of different routes you can take through the game and how you achieve it. And you might have to hit a game over before you even get the parasite out. And that's just where the story ends. But as I say, what you decide to do between two characters is entirely up to you. And there's bound to be mods for it as well. Not that you really need any mods. I think the next stage to what I've done here is probably animate it, and that's going to take a while. So I might need to do this next week. I'll work on making animations for this guy. And then I'll put it into the game and have him kind of doing stuff. But the thing is, I can probably copy and paste what I've got here and just add different models in, hopefully. But I shall look into that. Let's save this guy. Let's switch over to main camera. It's starting to get a little bit late. But yeah, I need to do more Blender stuff because I'm pretty comfortable with Unity now. Pretty comfortable with Unity. I've done a lot of Unity stuff, but the stuff I don't know how to do in Unity requires me to have models that I can puppet and animate. So it's all the animation stuff and moving NPCs. I don't know how to do that properly in Unity. So if we make our puppets and make our NPCs, we can then learn that next stage of Unity. And you might have seen in my Discord, I posted something about Twitch integration. So I want to see if I can make a small game, or even maybe I could throw it into Revolt Overthrow. But I want to try and make a small game at some point where if I run it and you guys type things in chat, it does stuff. Like maybe you can add monsters into the game by typing the word !monster or whatever. Cool. Yeah, it'd be fun to just have like a little interactive thing. But I need to read up some documentation on that. How would you do it? But I think that'd be quite cool. Even if you make it, I've made a Unity project that I can run while I stream, and just have like little dancing creatures or something. Because you see some streams, they have like little things dancing at the bottom. I could make something like that, or I could. That panda that's in that corner, I could try and make that kind of panda in Unity. Possibly. And have a full kind of game panda that you can interact with by typing stuff. I don't know. Might be an easy way of doing it. But I'll have a look into that. But it requires reading. And yeah, next week I'll try and make this guy kind of move his arms and look like he's talking. We'll give that a go. But I'm going to end the stream there. I'll be back on Monday. So, hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. and I shall see you all on Monday for either Minecraft or Stardew. I have to let you guys know. Might be more Minecraft. Either's good. Thank you for the stream, Epic, as always. Thank you for being here, Lee. So I always appreciate it. Same with you, Jeffrey. Appreciate you being here. Have a good weekend, you too. And thank you for everyone who's lurking. I appreciate all your lurkers. Yeah, and I shall see you Monday. Hope you have a good night. Good night.